Hi, my name's Ethan, and you might know me from my Genshin Impact and Zenazone Zero videos. But I also like to talk about my video games collection. So I've been collecting since 2021, and I've amassed most of the consoles that well-known consoles that most people think about from the first generation and above. So from the Famicom until like Nintendo Switch, PS1 to PS5, and even Xbox original to Xbox One. So yeah, I just want to basically show you guys what I actually have in store. So and without further ado, let's go. So let's start with the Nintendos. So I actually own like the Famicom Disk System, the NES, and the NES Mini, right there. And the coolest, in my opinion, the coolest console of all, the Sharp Twin Famicom. And you might be asking, what the heck is this? Oh, so when the Famicom Disk System came out, Sharp was basically very good partner of Nintendo. They basically supply a lot of like um, accessories for Nintendo to make not only the consoles but also like some of the early toys that Nintendo has. So as a good gesture for a partnership, they decided to make this two-in-one kind of like Famicom and Famicom Disk System console, to basically as a goodwill gesture. So yeah, this thing can play both Famicom games and Famicom Disk System games. And of course, I also have the Super Mario 2 on the Famicom Disk System, the original Mario on the NES, Mario on the Famicom, and Super Mario USA on the Famicom. I also have Mario 2 and 3 on the Super Nintendo, but they are on another shelf. In 1988 and 1989, Nintendo released the Game Boy, and it caught the world by storm. Like no one would expect that a 8-bit console would be able to have a handheld form, but hey, this thing existed, so it's pretty cool, I guess. And of course, I have Super Mario Land, the Mario game that launched with the Game Boy. Now moving on to 16-bit. I have the Super Nintendo over here, and also Super Mario World and the Super Nintendo Mini. And of course, I also have the Japanese and the European version, on the EU version. And of course, I also have Donkey Kong Country, which is called Super Donkey Kong in Japan. And in my opinion, out of these three designs, I still prefer the Japanese model the most. I don't know why, it just looks cool to me. And of course, I also have the Game Boy Color that came out in 1998. Alongside with Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. And of course, if as you can see, I actually not only collect most of the Nintendo consoles. I also have the major Mario games, which leads to the next generation, which is the Nintendo 64. Right here. There we go. And of course, I also have the controller itself, but also the Horipad, which is a Japanese only controller, and this is very sought after by collectors. And I also have the transfer pack, the microphone, and some controller pack. And pardon the dust over here, I haven't cleaned them for a while, so I will basically clean them after this video. And next generation is the GameCube. I have Mario Sunshine. Of course, I forgot Mario 64 over here, and I have the GameCube over here with the controller itself, the legendary controller, man. And I have Super Mario Sunshine and Pikmin. The Pikmin one is actually a Japanese version of it, so the box is a little bit smaller than the American version. And of course, I cannot forget about the handhelds themselves, like the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Advance SP. They are pretty cool, and I love both of them, but I still prefer the SP. Moving on to the next generation, we have the Wii's, and I actually have all three models of the Wii's. So this is the launch model that has GameCube backwards compatibility. With it, I have the second model, which removes the GameCube backwards compatibility, and the Wii Mini. And Yeah, some of you have seen the other two models, but I don't think you would have seen the Wii and the Wii Mini, and you would be asking, what the heck is the Wii Mini? So in 2009, 2010, before the Wii U came out, Nintendo decided to basically remake the Wii one more time to make it as cheap as possible. So that when that thing came out, it was like 99 bucks. But to keep the price down, they basically removed Wi-Fi, removed the SD slot, and to be honest with you, I don't like that. And fun fact, if you really want to play GameCube games in HD, the Wii is this model of the Wii is the best way to go. And the reason why is that this thing has an adapter that translates AV to HDMI, so you can actually play GameCube games with high definition. And all right, next generation is the Wii U, and even though this thing flopped hard, like fun, it basically sold only around 13 million consoles. I still love it, and I still truly believe that it's a very underrated console. And of course, I also have Super Mario Bros. Wii, Mario Galaxy, and Mario Kart 8. I was trying to find Super Mario Bros. U, but I have no luck. And of course, then the major consoles. I wouldn't say I have all the Nintendo major consoles without mentioning the Switch itself. So this is the OLED model. I used to have a version 1 and a Lite, but I sold both of them. And that's it. And of course, I can forget one and the other handhelds. So I have the DS Lite, DSi, DSi XL, 3DS original, new 2DS XL, and even the original 2DS, which still by far the weirdest like looking console, handheld console I have ever seen. All right, now that we're done with Nintendo, except for I also have a box Wii and a box Nintendo 64 over there. Now let's move on to Nintendo's biggest rival back in the 90s. So in the 90s, Nintendo and Sega, yes, the same Sega that made Sonic and some of the games that you love today, they used to make consoles. If you are born after 2000, you might not know these consoles, but they were very cool back then, like the commercials and stuff like that. Holy crap. And of course, the most successful Sega console that came out was the Sega Genesis. That thing sold like 36 million units worldwide. Even in Japan it's called in Japan and Europe it's called the Mega Drive. And despite this being the second most successful console in the 90s, in Japan, this thing actually sold very badly. I don't know why though, but but hey, whatever. So I have the base model, which is the Sega Genesis one. I have the second model right here, and I have the third model right here. And of course, the flagship title is of course Sonic the Hedgehog. And now you're looking at the second model, and you will see then something called the Genesis 32X, and you will be asking, what the heck is this? To be honest with you, explaining this would be I wouldn't explain it fully. So if you want to learn more about this thing, I would recommend you check out a video by gaming historian on the 32X. It's called The Story of the 32X. It's a very good documentary. Anyways, I also have the Sega Saturn. This thing came out after Genesis, and it was a massive flop. Like it's only sold 10 million in total, and it was. And the reason why it was so bad is because the launch itself was really bad. And if you're really curious about it, check out Sega's free biggest mistake by gaming historian also. And of course, I cannot forget about Sega's handheld, the Sega Game Gear. This thing sold for 10.8 million consoles, which is not a bad number, but compared to the Game Boy, which is its competitor, this thing sold badly, like less than 10 times. So yeah, even though Sega doesn't make consoles anymore. Their legacy and as a console maker and like the games that came on them will basically go into the memories of Sega fanboys back then. And of course, the one of the reasons why the Sega Saturn failed was because of another company. And we're moving on to them next. Yes, the biggest reason why the Saturn failed is because of the PlayStation. So Sony, a little bit of a history with Sony. So the PS1 and the PlayStation originally was supposed to be an add-on for the Super Famicom. So Sony and Nintendo was working on an add-on that can basically play both cartridges and CD games. And at the last minute, Nintendo decided to pull the rug on those plans. So like on that day, Sony announced that they will be working with Nintendo to develop the add-on. But the very next day, Nintendo was like, "Nah, we're working with Philips instead of like Sony." And Sony was like, "Oh no, you didn't." And you basically when actually before they developed the PlayStation itself, they actually approached Sega to develop the add-on, but Sega also refused to work with them, so they went solo and released the PlayStation 1, which is one of the most successful consoles ever sold. It's sold for like around 102 million consoles, and the reason why it is so successful is because of one thing. It's a game console, but also a MP3 player, basically a CD player. And so yeah, I have the first model ever sold, the later ones, and the PS1 itself with the screen. And I have the controllers that on each generation of controllers. This is the first, second model of the DualShock. So yeah, I have Gran Turismo, and of course, this is a demo disc that for Final Fantasy VII, along with some games. All right, after the successful launch and selling of the PlayStation 1, Sony pulled a big one. They made the PlayStation 2, which is still by far, the most successful console ever sold. It sold for 160 million consoles. And I can see why though. A lot of people, the reason why it sold so well is because this thing also plays like movie DVDs. So a lot of like people were like, "Wait, this thing can play games and play DVDs, movie DVDs? Oh, I gotta get one now." And even some families would buy this thing, not for the games, just for the fact that it was one of the cheapest DVD players of that time. Like when it came out, it was like $300. So the fact that it's a game console and a DVD playback machine for only $300, it's a steal to a lot of families, because back then DVD players were like around like $100 at cheapest, and 150 or 200 at maximum. So yeah, it was a good deal for a lot of families. And of course, I also have the PSP, which is the Sony's first handheld ever. So that's the our base model, the 1000 model, 2000, and 3000. Sony also came out with another PSP model called the PSP Go in 2009, which is a digital only console. And I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm planning to like get it soon. And of course, I have Grand Theft Auto, Liberty Stories, and of course a Terminator 2 DVD. And all right, let's move on to the next one, which is the oh dear. So I also have free models of the PlayStation 3, but all of them are broken right now, so I sent it to a friend for fixing. So once I have it back, I will basically make a video on it. And of course, I have Little Big Planet and GTA 4 for it. And let's move on to the next one, which is the next handheld by Sony, which is the PS Vita. And this is the first model, and this is the second model. And this thing sold horribly, and it lost badly to the 3DS lineup. And even though it was a very good machine, Sony gave up on it very early on, because they want to focus on this thing, the PS4. This is the PS4 Slim. I'm still trying to find the base model and the Pro model. and of course I have Resident Evil 7 on it, and of course the PSN PSVR, and of course I couldn't forget about the PS5 itself. So yeah, I set it up right here. This is my setup, and I have the controller over here and the PS5 over here. I got it now like around 2 3 years ago, and I've been playing it on it most of my time on it. And of course, finally, I have a bunch of box consoles over here, and some of the boxes are empty, but there are some boxes that have actually has consoles in it. So yeah, that's basically everything that I own so far. I'm still like I said, I'm consoles that I have right now are all third generation and above. So I'm still planning to get the first generation and the second generation ones, like the Magnavox Odyssey, Atari 2600, 5200, or 7800, and even like some more obscure consoles like the Panasonic 3DO or even like Amiga CD32. But it's I know it's been long. Like I've started collecting for 5 years, and it's still a long way to go until I get all of them. But hey, if you want to see more, then just leave a like and subscribe, I guess, and I will make more videos. And oh crap, I forgot one more console. I almost forgot about the Microsoft ones. So that's the Xbox original with the Duke controller, and the original and the second redesigned one. The Xbox 360s, I actually have 5 of them in total. The Xbox One E is broken, so I'm trying to get it fixed. The other three and the other four are all functional. Now, you might be asking, why do I have like 3 of them? So the reason why is that they are running different firmwares. So the first and the one on the left, it's running the original firmware that was released back in 2005. The middle one was is running like the second one, which is released in 2007, 5 or 6. I have no idea. And of course, the third one is running the final firmware, which came out later. And of course, I couldn't forget about the Xbox One itself. The console is inside it, but I have the Connect over here. And of course, I have GTA 5, Battlefield Hardline. As for Xbox original games, I have that sports game, and one of my favorite games of all time, Need for Speed Underground 2. I'm trying to get Need for Speed Most Wanted.